Well, welcome. Welcome to PJNET Live on Renew US this Tuesday. And I hope you like the new setup. This is one of many new sets that we are experimenting with. And we always look forward to Tuesday night. And many of you have seen some of the promo videos. In fact, that promo video has well over 2,000 plays on YouTube. So I'm extremely proud to have as our partner and guest every Tuesday, Dale Didway, and let's bring him out of the green room right now. He's actually, Dale, you're traveling. You're not in your office. You said you didn't have an office last week, but that sure looks like an office to me. But what do I see now? That's not your office.
No, in fact, the set looks great there.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a home office that I do most, where I do the broadcast from at my house. But tonight, my wife and I are in Columbus, Ohio, at a Hilton Garden Inn for a couple of nights. So we're up here doing some traveling. Just
traveling around, or just is there a purpose to your travel?
Yeah. There's always purpose. Well, tomorrow we're going to the State House over by the State House in downtown Columbus. We're going to attend the Ohio Right to Life Legislative Day, which is always informative and always an educational day where we'll all be for breakfast, and they'll hear about the legislative updates going on in Ohio, and they had some big news today. And we'll have a little lunch, and then we'll go over, either sit through some sessions and meet with state representatives, state senators, and discuss pro-life issues that are upcoming this year. So
you said there was some news today.
Yeah, I was just trying to find the tweet. Ohio is very aggressive in their pro-life agendas. They just recently signed Governor Kasich, former Governor Kasich, before he went out, signed the dismemberment abortion ban, which makes it illegal now to dismember a baby inside the womb, which is a good thing. So one of I think how many states? 10 states right now across the nation to have banned that. So I was looking at a tweet from our friend Mike Ganadakis, who's the president of Ohio Right to Life. He says, "Today we passed the heartbeat bill out of the Senate Health Committee, and the Sixth Circuit ruled in our favor and against Planned Parenthood." He said, "We are so close to shutting down late-term abortionist Martin Haskell's abortion mill in the Dayton area too." So a lot going on with Ohio Right to Life, and so we'll be hearing all about it more in detail tomorrow, and that's probably what I'm going to blog about next week. Will be our day up here.
Okay. Now we don't normally talk about your Thursday blog, or not blog, but you write pretty regularly on Thursdays, and you had a pretty hard hitting one.
Oh, did you see that?
No, I paid no attention to your stuff up there.
Yeah, was that the one about John Wayne?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, I got a lot of play on that.
I have flown into John Wayne Airport. It's actually kind of a small little airport. It's not that big.
I've been there, and it's so, this day and age is so I don't know, they're so sensitive to everything, especially to something that happened 50 years ago. What one of the greatest Americans said in an interview, and they're just going bonkers because, in fact, I was listening to a radio show on the way up, and I said this weeks ago, and they must have read my blog, but the liberal socialists are trying to take down everything that is America. Now, AOC's calling Ronald Reagan a racist. And now they're going after trying to get the statue of John Wayne removed. They're just trying to get rid of anything that's American because that's what they're fighting.
Well, I don't even know the specific reference that was made by John, that they were referring to from John Wayne. But let me tell you this: how about some of the specific references I could make to Margaret Sanger?
Oh my, yes.
Oh, yeah, so there's a double standard here, okay? Am I supposed to give Margaret Sanger a pass for her absolutely, no doubt about it, racist remarks? It goes beyond racism, okay? She wants to sort of extinguish or exterminate an entire population based on nothing but racism and bigotry. Well, but that was 100 years ago, I guess they would say. But well, so can John Wayne make a statement that was actually, in the context of when he said it, pretty much the norm?
Well, I think back then, 50 years ago, it wasn't norm, but I think it was more widely. It was more not accepted, but it was pretty common, and those views, and that was in the days of the Vietnam War, and you had All in the Family was a very popular sitcom, and those shows like that wouldn't make it today. But my point was, if you're going to try to remove John Wayne's name or his statue, then they have to take the name of Senator Byrd off of everything in West Virginia. And we're really close to West Virginia, and he's named for everything. And he was a member of the Ku Klux Klan. He was a Grand Wizard. And the Democrats say that the Republicans are. He was a wizard in the Klan, and that is well documented. It's not, and he apologized for it later. He said it was a wrong decision, but he was a card-carrying Ku Klux Klan member, a Democrat.
Well,
the Democrats started the Ku Klux Klan.
Right. It amazes me, or it frustrates me. I don't know of any hero or person of notoriety that did not have some character flaw. General Robert E. Lee was not only a great general, he was a good man. A good man. And to desecrate his legacy. Lincoln wanted Robert E. Lee to lead the Army. Okay? Yeah. He was his first choice. And that is not to marginalize Ulysses S. Grant. But Grant did not exactly graduate in the top 10 at West Point. In fact, he probably graduated. But that is not to say it's a predictor. General Patton did not graduate very highly in his class at West Point. But I did. My point is this: every person has defects. If you go far enough back in a person's history, you will find defects. So is that defect enough to wipe out an entire legacy? Is that one or two defects enough to wipe out the historical significance and contributions to good that someone makes?
No, and I think they're grasping at straws, because if you go back and listen to the interview, and I listened to it about a year ago. In fact, I took it in and like showed my wife. I said, "You've got to hear what John Wayne said about liberals." And this was 50 years ago. He said the biggest threat to America is socialism. And he said the liberal media, and he called them the liberal media, they are so intolerant of other views. They want everybody to listen to their views, but they won't accept anybody else's views. And he was a true, not a rebel back then, but he was in Hollywood, and he was the biggest movie star in the world, and they couldn't shut him up because he was so popular. So I think if they try to go after John Wayne's legacy and his name, I kind of hope they do, because I think they're running into a buzzsaw. I think people are getting sick and tired of the liberal socialist Democrats who are trying to overtake this nation and what America stands for, and they are un-American. And you'll get some feedback on that. Liberal socialists are not standing for America. Period. If you look at socialism, it's the downfall. It's horrible, and they have no clue about history, no clue about patriotism, no clue about what America, what has come through to get here. And so I think they're in for a rude awakening, and I hope they get it.
Dale, your blog today, I found interesting because I had to, while we were in the green room, I asked, is this guy an athlete? Because normally that is your model, that is your the way you do things is find athletes. But this is a great story from a non-athlete. How did you run into AJ Pollock and tell us his story?
They just reached out to me. I mean, he's from my hometown, and see some of the stuff I've done. And I did a post a few months ago about some people who are recovering addicts and trying to do good. And so he reached out and said, "Hey, I've got a story." So I figured I'll just meet him for coffee, which we did. and he's trying to make a road back from realizing he messed up, and that's the biggest thing, is realizing you messed up. He got involved with drugs. Yeah, he owned up to it, and so he's on probation. He's working off his time right now. He does have a job, which is a good thing, and he's a musician. He's trying to get his talent more exposure.
I see. And did he mention his transgression that got him in trouble with the law?
Oh yeah, it's a very common story. He got with the wrong crowd, got involved with drugs, got involved with all kinds of things that he shouldn't be doing, and got arrested. And as he caught it, he said he caught a felony. He caught a felony, and so he did some time and went to treatment. And he said that's the best thing that happened to him, is getting treatment. And so he's a year clean. He said he's a year sober. And he has 2 kids, so he's trying to make a fresh start. So that's a good thing. And so he does have some talents. He's a musician that his specialty is rap music, and if that's his forte, that's fine. I mean, there's people who like that. It's not my style, but I'm not. It's not. He might. I like Norah Jones, and I like Elvis, and I like John Wayne. If John doesn't sing, but I'm more that kind of guy. But good for him. He's using what he likes and trying to make something good with it.
Well, I did ask you for, and you did send me the link to his video. No, we won't be playing it here.
No. But, it's not bad. It's just not my style.
It's not. No. But here's my point, folks. I applaud A.J. Pollock. Okay, I can't stand that music. Let me just be clear. Right. I can't. I hate.
I said
it.
That.
Right. I hate it. But let me say this. If he can use that, he can reach people that you and I cannot reach with his music, right, with the gospel of Christ. So A.J. Pollock, if you're watching this, even though I do not care for your brand of music, I applaud you for stepping out for Jesus Christ and using the talents that God has given you, even if I don't recognize those talents. Okay, God does. Right. So, something's happening here in Florida. I wanted to get your opinion on, since AJ has been convicted. He is a felon. There's a movement here in Florida for convicted felons to have their right to vote restored. And when I first saw this on the news this evening, I thought, no, you made some choices. But I'm willing to listen. How is it in Ohio? Somebody like AJ, should he be forever? I mean, what's the deal up there? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know the law on that, and so I'm not going to speak to that because I'm not sure of the law. But I think once that a felon up to a certain point cannot vote, and I agree with that. And if the court comes back and says in 5 years you can vote, that's fine. As long as whatever the court decides is fine with me.
Yeah. On the one hand, I feel like hey, you blew it. But on the other hand, he served his time.
Right. If you serve your time, do what you and if you go by what the court says and they come back and say you can vote, you can vote. That's fine with me. I'm not like the Democrats. If you vote, you do it legally. You just don't let them in. You just don't let them pour over the walls to vote because they want reelected. So if the court says he can't, I support that.
Yeah, I can see both sides. I really can,
if
but I'm trying
to.
Conservatives sometimes are branded as not being open-minded, so I want to be open-minded. I don't want to be so open-minded that my brains spill out, and that seems to be all too common on the left side of the political spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, again, if the court says he can vote, that's great. If he's paid his time, that's fine. But if they also come back and say, if you're on probation for X amount of years, you can't vote.
Right.
I would support that too.
Yeah.
And so, hey, because you forgive, but you also don't. You have to pay your penalty. Yeah, you have to pay your punishment.
And there is actually in some of the legislation being debated right now, there is some discussion about what constitutes have served your time. There's restitution, there's probation, there's a lot of stuff. But think about sexual predators. Sexual predators, I think that's a different case because they could be a danger in the future if they repeat their
definitely.
crime. But being able to vote is not necessarily a threat, and if the democratic process says that their vote could be restored, that's the way we work here in America. We may have our differences, but what sets us aside or apart from other civilizations and other forms of government is we settle our differences in a civilized way, and at the end of the day, we are a nation of law, and so we can be proud of that.
Yeah. So if whatever the courts decide on that, I mean down there in Florida, that's all you can go with. And if the court says something and you don't like it, then you just move on. The Democrats just protest any court decision that's ever made, and so. In fact, you have that one gal trying to get her citizenship restored who left to go marry the ISIS fighters. Now she wants back. And there's people who actually want her back. But she denounced us. She tried to kill our own citizens. So, no. Keep her out of here. No. You blew it. I believe in second chances to a certain point, but when you denounce your country and try to kill
you have
your
second
own
chance somewhere else, like over there.
Go back there.
Go back there and restore freedom over there. How's that?
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that we were kind of talking about earlier is, we can, with all this new stuff that God has provisioned, we can bring other guests on, and you run into some very, very interesting people, Dale, and I just want to tell you, you're welcome to bring them on board here on any Tuesday night that you're here. You've got some people that are interesting.
Well, I do. I run into a lot of interesting folks, and so in fact, I've discussed that with a couple of folks over the next few weeks. I may be doing that. So very, very interesting people who are working for a cause, people who are doing something important, but they're also very interesting people. So I seem to run into them somehow. All the time.
I don't know. Are you going to them, or are they being attracted to you? I don't know.
It's a little bit of both, but tomorrow we're looking forward to going to Legislative Day, and then on Thursday we're going to pop up the road and go visit the distributor of my book. So they're fairly close. They're about an hour from here. So we're going to pop up to Ashland, Ohio, to go to Baker and Taylor Publishing Services and get a tour of their place.
Book's doing well, I hear.
Yeah, it is. It's off to a really good start the first 2 weeks, and hoping for better things. We've got a couple things cooking to start getting the more word out and promotion. So it's an exciting time.
Well, and that is Dugout Devotions, folks, and it's part of. We'll put the link here. There it is. Backwards.
Always keep it. Yeah, I'll just turn it this way. How about
folks? I'm working on something, and I shared this with Dale earlier. I have found a camera that's actually a camcorder that has a USB. I'm the science guy, so indulge me. One of the problems with built-in cameras in laptops and phones and webcams and such as that is they literally do reverse right from left, as you just witnessed. But most camcorders do not. Most, and that should be coming in the next few days. It should come in tomorrow, and I'm gonna do some experimenting. Yeah, it's like $90, which is actually cheaper than a webcam. Many of them, and it's a 4K high definition. Blah blah blah. But God has been very good. The technological blessings keep pouring out. Folks, I won't go over all the new toys that have come in today because Dale's time is valuable. Dale, you're in Columbus. You're with your dear wife, Angie, who is not only your wife, she is your handler, producer, cheerleader. There was a question that came in my mind earlier. We'll wrap it up with this one. Dale, there are so many bloggers.
Yeah.
Most of them never reach any significant impact. Yet yours does. Is there any advice you would give a blogger out there? You yourself did not even want to do a blog, but is there any advice or any way that you can account for the almost hysterical popularity of your blog?
Yeah, I mean, it's running into, and this isn't tooting your horn, running into folks like you on Twitter, just because we share common beliefs. We found each other there on Twitter, and some of your other followers, Judy, and some other great patriots. And so the thing I started doing is just be consistent. I mean, my first few blogs, I wasn't getting anybody, but I was still posting them every Tuesday, putting them out there. And then as my platform grew, more exposure grew, and I was, they would get more retweets. So it's just a matter of finding your audience, your genre, if people of like mind. I mean, I've had some pretty hateful comments from people, but for the most part, they're folks who share my ideals. And so once you find them and you're friends with them, or not friend, I mean, once you're friends with them on Twitter or Instagram, then they'll start sharing your things, your stuff, and then just kind of takes off like that. It takes one or two posts, but you got to be consistent. I mean, every Tuesday for the last 2-3 years, I've been doing this.
So how long was it before you felt like your blog was really starting to, hit that critical mass?
Probably about a year ago.
So you were blogging for a couple of years, almost in the thin air. Is that? But you kept
nobody
going.
Was seeing it. I wrote a really good one about gun control that nobody saw, so it was really good. So
don't give up. Regularity.
Just keep doing it and be
blog
consistent.
With regularity.
Because
don't give up.
Because they'll come to expect it. Your followers will come to expect it, and
it works out well in our case, because on Tuesday night we can always talk about your blog and have some foundation to stand on, rather than just, what do you want to talk about tonight?
Yeah. And something else that's helped is when I go to these conferences, you meet more people, and you follow each other and you help each other. Because one of our friends, Edie Melson, said, for every share 5 posts from your friends before you do yours, and that's there's 5 or 6 people I regularly share their blogs, and then in turn they're going to share mine. So
Zig Ziglar said, if you can help enough people get what they want, you can get anything you want. And so there's some reciprocity involved. How about the length? I see a lot of blogs that go on and on and on and on. Do you have a goal in trying to keep your blog to a certain word count?
Yeah, 700 words, or else you're going to lose them. And if it's going to be longer than that, I typically say it up at the top. Hey, this is longer than usual, but 600 words, 700 words max, and get a point, make your point, defend your point, and then be open to other people's views. If somebody can explain to me why they disagree with me, that's fine. I'll accept it, but don't just say you're wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong, and then I'll tell you why you're wrong.
All right, bloggers, there you have it from a successful blogger. Do you have a preference on platform? Do you think that matters?
Yeah, it's just, in fact, I was on a call today, and that came up. And it's just what you feel comfortable. I feel comfortable on Twitter. I like Twitter. I get more response on Twitter. Some people get more response on Facebook, and then Instagram. I don't do anything hardly on Instagram, but I like Twitter because I have more control over it. And people who are on Twitter, I think, they're more engaged somehow for some reason. I've discovered in the past 2 years, because I just think they're more engaged. They can be themselves. And if a person comments to me without a profile pic or something, I just ignore it, because they're chicken. They're a coward. If they cannot identify themselves, they're a coward. So I don't go to that. But if I see you, I'll respond to you.
That's good, Dale. Well, I'm glad to hear. It's refreshing to hear that maybe Twitter isn't a lost territory, a mission field that we have been in for so long. And Dale, I know you're traveling, and I want to give you time to get back with your wife. And hey, good luck and Godspeed on your ministry tomorrow. And we're
looking forward to it.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear what's going on next week, and we'll see you then, brother.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Folks, I never get tired. We are blessed. We are so blessed to have Dale Duduit as a partner in our ministry here, and we want to do our part and partner in his ministry as well. He's here every Tuesday night, and thank you for sharing the videos. My goal, if I have work tomorrow all day, but I'm off Friday and Saturday, my goal is to make another promo video like the one that is doing so well right now. People are really feeding into the message and the brand that Dale Duduit has, and we're just very fortunate to have him, and we're very fortunate to have you as part of PJNET, and it's great to have you, and I bless all of you and wish God's blessings on all of you as we continue tonight in our praise, worship, and fellowship here on Renew US, a part of PJNET Live. There's a pretty long delay between. There we go. All right, let me stop the stream.